The next branch of problems the Romans faced were military problems. Leading up to the 4th century, the Roman military became less trained and less effective. Attacks on Rome by Germanic tribesmen kept Rome occupied, inhibiting the army's progression and wearing the military down. Lenient treaties allowed the Goths and other Germanic tribesmen to settle in the western half of the empire and carve out their own settlements. These settlements, as well as the groups of Germanic tribesmen inducted into the Roman army, were often largely independent from the rest of Rome. These soldiers were called foederati, and eventually, foederati were admitted in smaller numbers as well as in large groups. Increasingly, the tribesmen had little unity between them and were fairly loyal to Rome, but this caused a problem. As more and more Germanic tribesmen joined the Roman army, the less properly they were assimilated. Instead of being trained and led by their own individual leaders, the tribesmen were trained by the Roman army. This led to the Germanic tribesmen not being trained well enough, and Roman battle tactics fell apart under the lack of orientation. Another contribution to the army's lack of training was that there was no record kept of soldiers, and as long as a soldier replaced himself with another man, he could leave the army whenever he liked. These replacements were often untrained and therefore ineffective. As the Roman army became less effective, the Roman men didn't want to join the army, and thus more Germanic tribesmen were needed. This created a cycle of incompetence, and with continued attacks on Rome from the tribesmen, the Roman army became weaker and weaker. Eventually, the Roman army ceased to exist.